This is Ben Habib, born in Pakistan, raised there, raised in the UK, attended a private school, went to a college in Cambridge, now works in the financial sector, and is probably one of the richest former MEPs. He's noted for saying make the rich richer. In a no-deal Brexit, the property market in the UK would slow down dramatically. We'd be looking to pick off weakness in the market and get some interesting deals. That was said on Investors Champion podcast. On the same podcast, he also said the pound would fall in value in a no deal. Our company income streams would go up in value, so we'd be quids in on that front. He was on Question Time this week, and his comments make me consider him to be some sort of arch villain, the type you would see in a Marvel movie. But it was actually quite difficult trying to figure out who he connects with. Is it Thanos? No, I don't think that's quite a fit. Maybe Bane? No, not quite. General Zod? No, not quite. No, in the end, the person I equate him most with isn't in Marvel or DC at all. Someone actually almost far sinister. Carter J. Burke. That's right, the character from the movie Aliens, and we'll go into detail about that a little bit later on. So let's have a little bit of a chat about Question Time, which was interesting in itself, as they decided to go for an all-Brexit outlook with an all-Brexit voting audience, even though some of them have changed their mind, but also pretty much an all-Brexit panel, bar two, Alistair Campbell and an economist, who was pretty much down the middle with it. And Question Time has something to answer for itself. Considering it's meant to be a non-biased programme, UK MEPs who appeared on Question Time between 2010 and 20, only 1.8% of those MEPs were pro-EU, and Nigel Farage making up almost half of the number of people attending on Question Time. Let's have a listen to what Ben had to say.
I think the country has to leave the EU as one united kingdom. So the first thing that needs to be done...
So how would you do that then?
So the first thing that needs to be done is that the Windsor Framework, which is just another form of the Northern Ireland Protocol, needs to be ditched.
Outrageous.
And we need to bring 1.8 million British citizens back into the United Kingdom, first and foremost. And actually that would sort out very much everything that's required to be sorted.
What you have here is someone who is extremely entitled, thinking he has an answer to a very, very difficult question. But essentially he's saying, get rid of the border in the Irish Sea, okay? But then he's saying we should, and it's insinuated, it's never directly addressed, have a hard border on the island of Ireland. And the problem is, the new IRA have said on TV, if you stick anything up on that border, we'll consider an act of war and we'll blow it up. What we do about that, I don't know, but it seems to be an escalation of violence, and this is why I'm saying this guy is dangerous.
Just like they'll know that you were responsible for the deaths of 157 colonists.
Wait a second.
You sent them to that ship.
You're wrong.
I just checked the colony log. Directive dated 6/12/79, signed Burke, Carter J. You sent them out there and you didn't even warn them.
Starting to sound familiar with Ben? He creates the problem. He doesn't care that he caused the problem. He doesn't care that other people will suffer and die, as long as he gets what he wants, which we've already established. By him getting a lower pound, he benefits and profits.
So I made a decision and it was wrong. It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
Bad call.
Right.
These people are dead, Burke! Don't you have any idea what you've done here? Well, I'm gonna make sure that they nail you right to the wall for this. You're not gonna sleaze your way out of this one. Right to the wall.
And as you'll see later on, Ben takes no responsibility for his actions. He always blames others, like Carter Burke.
Absolute rubbish.
The border is a recognised border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. It's recognised in the Good Friday Agreement.
Yeah.
The trade that goes across...
messed up.
So either Ben wants a hard border, and I've already explained what the difficulties are of that and the dangers of that, or you have an open border, which is exactly what Brexiteers don't want, because they want to control their borders. But if it's an open border, it's uncontrolled. So it's one or the other. There isn't any way around this. You have to check goods coming.
No, you lot messed up.
What is he saying there? Is he saying that the Good Friday Agreement is a mess up? Is he saying that it needs to be repaired? Is he saying it needs to go? And this is the type of stuff that has caused us to not have a trade agreement with the United States, which no one brought up on the panel. 36 million Irish Americans live in the United States, and they are angry about what's taking place in Northern Ireland and the island of Ireland. But Ben doesn't bring that up, because why would he? He doesn't know. And to be honest, I've listened to a number of Brexiteers bring this up in the past, including Nigel Farage. They haven't got a clue. They really don't. And those 36 million Irish Americans are a huge voting bloc, which can flip between Republican and Democrats, And this has caused Republicans and Democrats to join together to say no trade deal unless you get the Good Friday Agreement sorted. And Ben wants to ride roughshod over it. But it gets worse because he's going to blame, well, have a listen.
The Leo Varadkar, Simon Coveney weaponized the border. They threatened violence if we didn't put if we didn't put a border down the Irish Sea. And
You know, Burke, I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them fucking each other over for a goddamn percentage.
He's literally fabricated words. And he is still trying to stir a hornet's nest up by suggesting it's their fault. So it's a bit like initiating a divorce and then blaming the partner for initiating the divorce. What we have is something that is really difficult. The memories are still there from the Troubles. And Brexit has dug this all up again and was completely ignored during the Brexit campaign.
what we've got now is a border right down the middle of the United Kingdom. That is an abomination to me, and it should be
your
to any
Brexit created.
No, which your narrative created.
Fiona Bruce does a terrible job, she doesn't pull him up on it, and no one really pinpoints exactly what his solution is, but it would appear to be either a hard border or a completely open one, both of which are not acceptable to one side or the other. What we had within the EU was a solution, and we've now lost that because of morons like Ben. And Ben's nonsense continues as he talks with someone who voted for Brexit and is now struggling with their computer company because essentially they can't get goods in because of red tape.
The red tape that's in place when we've got all of our stock sitting in the Netherlands and sitting in Belgium, and lead times are higher and everything's just generally more expensive, and we as a small business can't compete with the big players.
And here's Ben's response.
The cost of living crisis has absolutely nothing to do with Brexit.
Well, even when you hear the man there who's running
Absolutely.
music, Lewis is saying it's made his business more difficult. You're saying, no, it hasn't.
I mean, the evidence...
I mean, that's the reality for him.
No, it is.
Sorry, just one thing I wanted to come back on is it was the mention of the pounds and things like that. It's the pounds and the pence that matter to my customers, and the savings that I have to pass on, I can't do anymore.
It may have made your business more difficult.
Yeah.
It may have done. And of course, there'll be anecdotal evidence of that in a lot of businesses.
Okay.
But clearly, overall, it hasn't had
Can
that
I just-
impact.
Translation, that's just your business. The wider picture is okay, so who gives a crap about you and your situation? That's exactly what Ben's saying. Doesn't matter, because the bigger picture still seems better. It's just your problem, not mine. Then The Economist comes in and rips Ben a new one.
The crucial thing is, if our trade hadn't been as affected by Brexit, we would see our trade performing like that of our nearest comparators. And what has happened post-COVID is there is a gap between our trading performance and theirs, because theirs has gone up significantly more. And it's very hard when thinking about that to think that's anything other than...
No, but Annan...
point. It seems curious when you're talking about we didn't leave properly. I mean, Lewis there is saying there is red tape. By leaving properly, as you say, you're adding tariffs onto that red tape. You're making his life harder and more expensive.
There is one final thing to discuss, and that's this continuing message coming out from the Reform Party that people on benefits are bad.
We've got record numbers of people on universal credit. We could address all the demands of the employment market if the 5.9 million people, and that was 3 million before lockdowns, 5.9 million people were properly brought back into the workforce.
What Ben has said is frankly offensive to anyone who is on benefits, but it also doesn't show the whole picture, because once again, Ben just doesn't want to talk about the fine detail about who's on those benefits. But I will. It's amazing. 27% are students, 26% are long-term sick, 22% are carers, and 13% are fucking retired. And when you hear this member of the Question Time audience talking about ladders...
People that go up on roofs, for one thing. We kept, when they brought the rules in about the safety guards, we took that on board. But when you went to France or Germany or something, they were all up on their roofs with nothing.
These are the retirees that Ben Habib was talking about, who wants to get back into work. And with this interest in roofing, it wouldn't surprise me too much if Ben would expect her to be up on that roof. Luckily, there was an audience member that did tear into him.
The very idea that people that are on universal credit are just enjoying themselves is absolutely ridiculous and disgusting.
So once again, I asked for a call to action. I asked for all of you to get online and to get on the phone and complain to the BBC about this horrendous bias, not only because of what you've seen there, but an historic bias by the BBC Question Time panel and producers to only have Brexiteers on their show. That was horrendous. However, what is lovely is all the support I get on this channel, whether it's hitting the like button, buying me a coffee, which has happened a little bit recently, or becoming a Patreon and YouTube member. All of your help keeps this channel growing and going. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.